Eli Pennington, MKP, he's renewing his chamber membership. So that's all good. But it really, we ought to do a bus tour. Don, little bus tour. See what's going on. It's amazing. It's just really neat. So, and I know you have a lot to do with that Type A. So congratulations to all of you. So we'll see you Sunday, and noon until 4. Don't eat. So we have Massey's Barbecue is there, Susan's Veggie Burgers, and My Roots Authentic Mexican Cuisine. So we've got everybody covered, carnivores and veggies. Okay, thank you.
Paul, do you think you could come up with a way to get a tour for people with the chamber?
We can start charging tours with Dawn.
Well,
For
I'm
tours
sure
of Keene.
Dr. Ricky Stevens would find a way to give us a bus, and we could probably do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that would be nice. Also, another question about our expo. At one time, and I don't remember what year it was, maybe it's every year and I just didn't notice it, but we had businesses coming in that were wanting to hire. Well, now is a real good time for people to get new jobs if they want it or whatever. Can we not get those people again, or?
well, that's the same thing with the Texas workforce and their job bus. They just can't get anybody to be there on Sunday. So, Eddie Stewart comes to our luncheons. We're in constant contact with Texas workforce. They're just located in Cleburne, but they just can't find it. And so like Binky, ear, nose, and throat. He did find somebody 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, to bring their mobile hearing van over, and he was swamped. It was one of the busiest days he's ever had. Last year, he couldn't find anybody to work Sunday. Same this year. Couldn't find anybody to work Sunday. So we understand that. We appreciate those who are with us, but we do have some ideas to bypass that next year. And if we get then we can, that Leifsky Poulter Auditorium is a busy, busy gymnasium. Not only do you have the men and women's basketball, and you got the gymnastics, you got volleyball, but that's the students' gymnasium. So we're very fortunate to have it one day a year when we do. But, you drive by there and you look at everything that's going on. Sometimes that parking lot's packed. If it's not a basketball tournament, it's a volleyball tournament.
So we don't have a real choice.
No, we're at their mercy. And we cooperate, and we love the cooperation we receive from Southwestern Adventist University, but we are at their mercy. So we're fortunate to have the one day a year that we do have.
Okay.
And you have to remember, it's not just that with Southwestern. They provide that parking lot for our 2 parades and the restrooms, and so we have a good relationship with Southwestern. So,
Okay, well, thank you so much.
yes, I'm sorry to take up all this time.
That's
Thank
okay.
you.
That's okay, anytime. Okay, any other comments? Mr. Chapman? That's okay.
I think you know my name, Bob Chapman. I'm a Place 3 City Council. And I live at 529 Molly Lane here in Keene. I wanted to tell everybody, and I'm going to do this throughout the boards, my intent is not to be on anybody's side or throughout all this. My intent is to make the city of Keene a better place to live. So anytime you have anything you want to reach out to me about, discuss, comments, I'm more than happy to help out. I've been working with our city manager quite well. Man, I think it's a better place to live anywhere in the United States. So please reach out to me and allow me to do my job with everybody, okay?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chapman. Anyone else? Mr. Jackson?
Good morning, board members.
Good morning.
I forwarded an email to city manager yesterday. It's pertaining to zip code boundaries within the U.S. Postal Service. And I'd like to see the boards get behind possibly this endeavor as well. I've talked to the postmistress, Mecklenburg, and most of the 4 developments that are currently underway will most likely have 76031 zip codes unless we get behind some kind of a push to request otherwise. And of course, the problem is unions. You have city mail carrier unions, and you have rural mail carrier unions. And currently, the areas being addressed by the 4 developments are pretty much served by rural mail carriers. And they're probably not going to want to give up any territory. But in talking to the postmistress, she mentioned that it's possible to get the canyons designated as 76059 zip code because there is an entrance off of Eastern Street leading into that development, but not so much on the other ones. And I plan to talk to Elizabeth Keogan. She's the GIS analyst for the 911 addressing system in Johnson County, just to see, you know, how, just to understand just where the boundaries are. And when she, you know, posts a new address, you know, obviously she would know, you know, what the zip code, proper zip code would be. So I hope to get with her later this week to discuss that as well. But I'd just like to, many retailers, when you go into their stores, they ask you to offer up your zip code. They want to know where their customers are shopping from. And with half of the population of Keene under a 76031 zip code, it's quite hard to make any kind of an impression with national retailers when they're looking at a 760559 zip code that has maybe, you know, 3,500 residents. We used to get a direct mail flyer from, it's been different names, Red Plum, Save, different names over the years. And we stopped getting that 3 or 4 years ago. So we don't get, I still get one at a rural address I have, but we don't get the Albertsons flyer, we don't get the Brookshire's flyer, we don't get the Subway coupons. Wendy's and Jack in the Box used to advertise their coupons to Keene residents. You know, we no longer get that. So it's very disappointing and depressing that a town of 7,000 people, probably the largest town in Texas, if not the United States, without a full-service grocery store within 5 miles of it, you know, has to suffer for that. So I'd like to maybe have the boards get with the city manager. Consider whether y'all want to pursue that.
That's a good idea.
All right, thank you.
Philip, one of the other amazing ideas is that our city hall has a 76031 zip code.
Right.
And our Keene City Hall.
Well, and the other thing I
And that-
mentioned is, so, and that's 1,000 North Old Betsy Road, 76031. You go next door, and it's like 2221 or something, FM 2280, and it, you know, and all of that. And I proposed back in October during my forum that I'd like to see the addressing straightened up in Keene as well. Even numbers on the right, odd numbers on the left as you leave town, as it is in many, if not most, not all cities. I know Grandview is similar in its layout, but just you know, for
It affects a lot.
yeah,
Because-
just for continuity.
Yeah, like in selling a house out in Spring Creek, Joshua Schools, Cleburne mailing address, City of Keene. And if you close a home and you don't notify that lender that it is a Cleburne mailing address, not a Keene mailing address, their payment coupons will go back, and then they'll be late on their payments. Had that happen twice because the title company forgot to tell them that, hey, it is the City of Keene, but it's a Cleburne mailing address. So things like that do affect a lot of people and a lot
Right.
of things.
That's the other thing I mentioned, 2 zip codes, 4 school districts, and 5 water companies serving the city of Keene.
That's a lot.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the,
I did read that flyer last night, Mr. Jackson, and I appreciate it very much. It's funny, I was in commercial printing and mailing for 10 years, and we used to do these mass mailings, and so now I'm on the other side and never really thought about how, how this all ties together. So this will be another learning experience for me, and I will say that whatever we do when we go after it, based on what you sent me, they only give us one opportunity every 10 years. So we'll have to make sure, you know, if we do this, that, you know, we do it right. And you're right, we are up against unions, and they're tough. But I do, ironically enough, Don and I were just talking about that yesterday morning about, you know, why is it that we're Cleburne? So it's kind of funny how it all just kind of tied in together yesterday. So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
I have to say something. When I first moved here, I went to Cleveland looking for this address.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just ridiculous. I mean, pure ignorance, but nevertheless, it was confusing.
Well, it certainly is a
It's part of the reason we're the best kept secret.
Maybe so. No idea. Okay, any more public comments? Okay. General, consider approval of the, excuse me, Chapter 380 Economic Development Program Agreement between the City of Keene and the Keene Economic Development Corporation.
This is just simply that agreement where you lent us the money. So obviously, we try to do things right, so we had the lawyer draft up an actual agreement so that, you know, so this is more a formality. And just so we can
Make
get
a
your
motion.
approval,
Okay.
let's make it official, and then we'll get your signature.
Okay. Do I have a motion? Okay, Rolando made a motion to approve it, and
I'll second the motion.
And Cody, second. All those in favor? Okay. Excuse me. A review and discuss and consider the application of Gwen Beeson for appointment to the Keene Economic Development Type A Board to fill a vacancy for a term ending in March of 2027. I move the board recommend the appointment of Gwen Beeson to the Economic Development Type A Board to fill the vacancy for a 3-year term ending March 2027.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, Rolando, motion. All those in favor? Okay. Review and discuss and consider approval of the minutes of the regular Keene Economic Development Corporation Type A Board meeting held on January 15th, 2025. Does anyone have any questions about the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from January 15, 2025, regular Keene Economic Development Corporation Type A Board meeting be approved as presented.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay, review and discuss and consider the approval of the Keene Economic Development Type A Board financial report for the month ending January 31st, 2025.
Due to the fact of the weather, there was a bad accident that Charles got stuck in, so he's not here. And I was reviewing it. I do have some questions myself, so we may want to table this
Table it till the
rather than
meeting.
just, you know, push it through. And I will ask him some questions when he gets here. And just to kind of give you all an update too, that is one of the areas that we've needed to focus on and kind of restructure. And because Charles technically retired in August, and he's been very gracious to continue on and help us. But there is a plan beginning to form, which we'll be discussing at council. And hopefully by middle of March, we'll kind of have that department restructured and, you know, the new team members on board and kind of moving that department forward as well. So
Okay, so just table it till the next agenda?
that would be my recommendation.
Okay. Anybody have an
I'll
objection?
move the board to table the EDCA financial report for the month ending January 31st, 2025, as presented.
All those in favor? Okay. There is no executive session for today.
I do have a question. And it kind of goes back to the Gwen Beeson application. So if we've approved 2 applications, council tabled one, where does that leave us? Are y'all voting on that Thursday? And we'll have 2 approved applications at that point, possibly?
So they do have a discussion about appointments, but we do not have we do have that on the agenda to consider the appointments for A board and another one for B board as well. So we can provide this recommendation as well. So you'll have 2 recommendations before the council
So
for
then we would come
appointments.
back next month and decide on one or the other?
No, they will.
Council will only appoint one.
I see, okay. That answers my question.
Yeah. Okay, are there any requests for future items?
I would like to address the potential plan. I would like to propose the review of the plan for the,
The master plan?
yes, there are 2 things, the master plan and also the industrial park. One, the main interest of knowing the master plan is so to align the industrial park with it, because based on some estimates and some planning that I have been looking into the industrial park, it seems like, it will take about 2 years to be able to have something that it will be providing, some more results, some more benefits. And it will be nice to be able to have some clarity, some vision, especially regarding what the strengths are offered in the city. There is a saying that in the marketing world, if we want to sell everything to everybody, is a very, very challenging thing because we will need a lot of resources to do that. And the idea to say, what is it that we're really good at? What is it, what industry, what businesses we want to have? There are different businesses. We can have food and beverages, we can have aircraft, we can have electronics, a lot of different things. So it will be really nice to be able to say, what is it that we can work also in developing the workforce? Talking together with the learning organizations, with the university and the different learning organizations around. So we can define, hey, what is it that we're good at? So it will be really good to have a planning session addressing, what that direction is so we can work in the next steps.
Maybe we can plan a meeting eventually with you.
Well, we
City
may
manager.
want to consider just doing it at one of your committee meetings, The ebbs and flows of these boards is contingent upon, the growth that's going on at the time. And so, and obviously, we get to be privy to a lot of conversations about people that own land and are wanting to do things that we can't speak about. So until those things actually break loose, it's hard to bring you guys into it. So it just in the interest of time, since we've already got this blocked out, and Holly, correct, I'm assuming we can have this kind of discussion at a board meeting like this, or no?
As long as it's on the agenda.
Okay. So, that would kind of be maybe my recommendation until we really get you guys busy with actual, economic development. We use this time that we've already set aside to talk about strategies and education and that kind of thing. So, and then this way the public can watch it and come sit and watch if they want, so.
Yeah, that would be good. Don, I have a question. The gentleman that we signed the last contract on, that you said you were waiting on something, did he ever get back to you? He wanted the extra 3 acres out there at the industrial park?
They're still kind of doing their drainage study as far as where, if they buy that extra 3 acres of land, how are they gonna, the drainage study, because all that water goes under the railroad tracks along the railroad tracks and then under the railroad tracks into the floodplain. So they're trying to get all their numbers together to see what it is gonna be with the 5 and then with the 3, and if they need part of that 3 or the 5 to do a detention pond. So that's kind of where they're at right now. They're in the middle of that drainage study, and
So is that part of their feasibility?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay, and then one last question. Did we ever get any resolution or any plan about that train, the docking, where we knew that the trains were coming, but they would be able to back in to load up stuff, but then they would have to go straight out, so rather than having a turnaround?
For like a railroad spur?
Yeah, the railroad spur.
I haven't done anything on that, no.
In
I have
a long-
not had any conversation with them. I know, I think Michael Talley and Molly did
Yeah,
years back. I'd have to try and find that paperwork.
yeah. Well, I knew at one time, they said that was, they could do that, but it would, because the railroad would pretty much have to take care of the expense of doing that, since there's already one there. But how they would manage it with the other trains and stuff.
Right.
And then the last I heard was that they wouldn't be able to pull in straight. They would have to, be one going, I guess, going south and back in.
I don't know.
And so, made sense to me, but never heard any more about it. So, it would be nice to know about that, because I think that would help our industrial park too.
It would, but I think at the time, it was for a particular development, and that particular development didn't work, so it was kind of, what's the point? And plus, the railroad's like, well, if you're not gonna use it, we're not gonna build it.
Well,
That
I
makes
understand that, but maybe we'll get someone in there who would, and maybe it would draw more people. But, anyway. And let's see, I think that pretty much, anyone else have any agenda items for next meeting? Nope. Okay. The meeting is adjourned at 9:32 a.m.